And the other thing, just to touch on briefly, we don't have them yet, but some phones were released this week, weren't they, Warren?
I surmise that you're talking about my gorgeous, beautiful looking Pixel 6 series. Google was not ready. I was really pissed for the very first time. Excuse my Espanol, guys, but I was sitting there refreshing the page. I added the 512 gig version to my card. I was excited for the very first time ever. I'm going to be having a 512 GB phone. And guess what? When I went to check out, I got a 504 or some 500 series error. Basically, the page is a goner. And I refreshed the page, and then, we removed it from your cart. It's out of stock. And I'll go back to the 256, even though I do not want a 256. And that I could not get either. So I got really angry.
Wow.
And I just, I said, F that. I'm going to get out of here. And then what? The only one I could get later on, like maybe several hours later on, is the miserable 128 gig. And I'm like, I don't want to be running around with a 128 gig, most especially if we already have these sizes and I can't even get those. So it was so sad. And good news though, Google has sent out some notification. I got a notification saying, hey, if you are trying to get this, you could now be on the waiting list. And so if you go to the Google page, the Google Store web page, you could add your 512 or 256 if that's what you want, and you'll be on the waiting list. So that's my woes, my miserable experience. It was terrible. Google was not ready. They were not ready.
And tell me, Warren, before you ordered that, or since actually, did you do a COVID test?
A COVID test.
Well, you see, no sense of taste is a common feature, isn't it, of COVID?
Oh,
so
stop.
I thought you might have done a COVID test.
Thank you, Anna.
Warren, our listeners have another question. What will you store on the 512 GB phone?
Forget about although it's all jealousy, because I want a 512. They have a miserable 64 gig or 32 gig phone. Warren, why can you get a 32 gig? No, I'm not doing that. It's 2021, guys. I'm going for the phone for the boys. Big babies.
I was going to ask you what excites you, and then I remembered it was a Pixel. So what do you find semi to mildly interesting about the Pixel 6?
Because it's a Pixel phone. A very short answer.
No particular features you're looking forward to then?
No, I do not care about features or anything. The underlining thing here, it's a Pixel phone.
There's the discerning view of mobile phones from the founder of this podcast. We ought not to care about features when buying phones.
That's
the official position of the founder of the Blind Android Users podcast.
Well, it's a Pixel phone. What else do you want? This is the king on the hill. Everybody agrees the Pixel phone, if you want to experience Android in its true purest form, it's got to be a Pixel.
But to be fair, it does sort of resemble the Hank Hill of mobile phones. I won't disagree. I wouldn't necessarily call it a king.
No, it is the king.
I can see the king of the hill reference.
Know. The Pixel is not going to take the place of your whoever your king or whoever that is, but he's still king on the hill.
But let me ask this. You've been a silly boy as well, Bilal. What are you finding semi to mildly interesting about the prospect of the Pixel 6? Or do you not care about features either?
One of the things I found interesting was it's got good translation features. Now, my wife speaks Urdu, and maybe she wants to speak. She's speaking to someone who speaks English, and she wants to, wants to hear what they're saying, and basically it will translate it. So that'll be good for her and for me as well.
So here's what's going to happen. When I get mine, we'll do it on the podcast. Austin is going to speak in Hindi, and we'll hear the translation translated right back into English. How about we do that? It's going to be really fun.
Well, actually, one nice thing about the Pixel line of phones is that some of Google's new features come first to the Pixel. And
definitely.
One of the features I was reading about, I know a lot of our listeners do, voice dictation. And one of the upcoming features that's coming first to the Pixels is to do some editing do some hands-free editing.
The good thing is that it will recognize when you pause. So I'm saying, hello, Ed. What's going on there with your knucklehead? So you see, I'm not going to be saying, hey, hello, Ed, comma, what's going on there with your knucklehead, question mark, or something like that. This thing is going to be smart enough to do that. And the good news is that it's going to be all local on your device. And also that ability to use the assistant on the Gboard is also cool. So it comes first to the Pixel 6.